If you're a woman in your 50s, you might be noticing that your home feels more full than it used to, while your energy for constant cleaning isn't what it once was. It's not because you're lazy. After years of living, working, and taking care of others, things quietly pile up without you even realizing it. It's the items you bought and never got around to dealing with the routines that no longer fit your life. And the constant "I'll take care of it later" that's been repeated for years. Eventually, just looking around your home can feel exhausting. In this video, I'm not talking about making your home look perfect. I'm sharing very specific things to let go of, from everyday household items and forgotten spaces to habits and mental weight that make everything feel heavier than it needs to be. These are things I've applied in my own life. They didn't make my home perfect overnight, but they made it easier to live in, helped my mind feel lighter, and stopped that constant feeling of cleaning without ever being done. If you're at a stage where you want life to feel slower, simpler, and less draining, this video is for you. The first step is letting go of unrealistic expectations. Most of us have felt this at some point, expecting others or even ourselves to act a certain way and ending up feeling disappointed and drained. At this stage of life, those expectations often don't come from big moments, but from small everyday situations that quietly wear you down. For a long time, I didn't realize how much I expected the people around me to just know what needed to be done. I expected family members to notice the mess, to help without being asked, or to do things the way I thought made sense. When that didn't happen, I felt irritated and quietly resentful, even though I had never clearly said what I needed. I assumed that because I had carried these responsibilities for years, others should automatically understand. Eventually, I had to admit that this way of thinking was exhausting me. The issue wasn't that others didn't care, it was that I was holding on to expectations I had never expressed, or expectations that no longer fit my life. Once I stopped expecting others to think the same way I do, everything felt noticeably lighter. Instead of waiting and feeling disappointed, I began to be clearer about what I actually needed. Or I adjusted my standards and asked myself whether something was truly worth my energy. Some things I chose to speak up about, other things I decided to let go of completely. When you let go of unrealistic expectations, life feels lighter. You stop wasting energy on things you can't control, communicate more clearly about what you need, and feel more at ease with what you already have. And once expectations feel lighter, it becomes much easier to move on to the next step, looking at the daily habits that may be quietly adding to your stress. Next, it's time to look at the habits that quietly wear you down each day. These aren't bad habits in a moral or health sense. They're the small familiar things you do out of routine convenience, or because they've always been done that way, even though they leave you feeling heavier over time. For a long time, I thought my constant tiredness came from age or having too much to handle. But when I really looked at how my days flowed, I realized there were habits slowly draining my energy without me noticing. Take mornings, for example. I used to reach for my phone the moment I woke up. Scrolling through messages, news, and random updates meant my mind was already full before the day even started. I hadn't left the bed yet, but I already felt behind and tense. There were other habits too. Letting small tasks pile up until they felt overwhelming, keeping the house good enough and promising myself I'd deal with it later, or sitting down to rest while my mind kept running nonstop. None of these seemed serious on their own, but repeated daily, they created a constant feeling of being busy without ever feeling finished. The problem with these habits isn't that you're doing something wrong, it's that they no longer fit the season of life you're in. What worked when you were younger, more flexible, or running on adrenaline may now be costing you more than it gives back. When I started making changes, I didn't try to build perfect new habits. I focused on removing the ones that made me tired. I stopped starting my day with my phone. I handled small things earlier instead of letting them pile up. I accepted that my home didn't need to be perfect. It just needed a few calm, clear spaces. Just letting go of a few of these habits made my days feel lighter. Not because I was doing more, but because I stopped adding unnecessary weight to myself. You don't need to change everything. Start with one habit that makes you sigh the most during the day. Ask yourself, honestly, does this still need to be done this way? If the answer is no, you found something you can let go of. When these habits loosen their grip, life becomes easier to manage. There's less mental noise, less pressure, and less of that constant feeling of being rushed. And once your habits feel lighter, it becomes much easier to notice the next thing that needs attention, the distractions that keep pulling your focus away. Next, let's talk about reducing busyness and quiet distractions. At this stage of life, many of us feel busy all day, yet somehow nothing truly important feels finished. The day fills up with small tasks, interruptions, and little obligations, and by evening, you're tired but not satisfied. That kind of busyness slowly drains you. I noticed this in my own life. I wasn't rushing anymore, but my days still felt scattered. I would do a little of this, then a little of that, answering messages, checking updates, handling small household things without ever settling into one thing long enough to feel done. It wasn't stressful in a dramatic way, but it was constantly distracting. For me, one of the biggest distractions wasn't work, it was habit. Picking up my phone without thinking, checking messages just in case, sitting down to rest, but letting my attention drift from one thing to another. Each interruption felt small, but together they made my day feel fragmented. What I eventually realized was my energy had changed, but my habits hadn't. I was still living as if constant interruptions were harmless, even though they were leaving me mentally tired. So instead of trying to do more, I started doing less, but with clearer boundaries. I chose specific times to check messages instead of reacting to them all day. I stopped answering things immediately unless they truly mattered. I gave myself permission to finish one small task before moving on to the next, even if it meant ignoring other noise for a while. These weren't dramatic changes, but they brought a sense of calm back into my day. Distractions don't just steal time, they scatter your attention. When your focus keeps jumping, your mind never fully rests, even if your body is sitting still. That's why days can feel exhausting without being physically demanding. Reducing distractions helps your mind stay in one place long enough to feel steady. The first step is noticing what pulls you away most often. It might be your phone, constant checking unnecessary errands, or even saying yes to things you no longer have energy for. Once you see it clearly, you can gently set limits. Not strict rules, just small decisions about what deserves your attention now and what can wait. Multitasking is another habit worth letting go of. Doing many things at once used to feel efficient, but over time, it becomes tiring. Focusing on one thing at a time, slowly and deliberately, often gets it done faster with less mental strain. When distractions quiet down, life feels more manageable. You're not rushing, but you're also not spinning in place. There's more space to think, more energy left at the end of the day, and more satisfaction in what you've actually done. This kind of change doesn't happen overnight, but each small boundary makes the next one easier. And once your days feel calmer and more focused, it becomes much easier to look at another area that often creates quiet stress, how your money is being spent, and where it may be leaking energy without you realizing it. Next up, let's talk about decluttering your bills. We all know how easily our expenses can pile up, especially with subscription services and recurring payments that we don't always need. It's easy to let bills accumulate without thinking twice about them. I've been guilty of this too, where I continued to pay for services I wasn't using or didn't really need anymore. A while ago, I realized I was still paying for a streaming service I hadn't used in months. It was one of those subscriptions that automatically renewed, and I didn't even notice it because it was just a small amount every month. When I finally took the time to evaluate my expenses, I realized how many little things I was paying for without using. By canceling just a few of these subscriptions, I saved more than $50 a month, and that money could be put towards something more meaningful. Unchecked expenses can drain your financial resources without you even realizing it. The more subscriptions, bills, or services you pay for, without thinking, the more you limit your ability to save or invest in things that matter. Decluttering your bills allows you to save money, reduce stress, and take control of your finances. When you review your bills and subscriptions, you'll also realize that some of them may no longer fit your lifestyle. For example, if you've switched to a different gym or started using a different online service, keeping old subscriptions is just wasting money. By cutting down on unnecessary expenses, you'll not only save money, but also declutter your mental space. You won't have to worry about extra payments every month, and you can better allocate your money toward things that bring value to your life. Start by going through all your subscriptions and bills. Make a list of what you're paying for, and ask yourself if you're still using them. If not, cancel them. This is the perfect time to review your cell phone plan cable subscriptions or any services that are no longer necessary. Even small savings here and there can add up over time. One helpful tip is to review your bills every few months to see if there are any changes you can make, whether it's switching to a cheaper plan, negotiating for a better deal, or canceling services you no longer use. It's easy to let these things slide, but taking a proactive approach can free up money and mental space. When you reduce your monthly bills, you'll not only improve your financial situation, but also feel more in control. You won't be stressing about bills piling up or paying for things you don't need. The more you simplify your expenses, the more room you'll have to save for what truly matters, whether it's a vacation, a hobby, or investing in your future. Now that you've tackled your bills, let's move on to another important area: decluttering your wardrobe. Your clothes can take up valuable space both physically and mentally, and it's time to simplify that part of your life. Next, let's talk about decluttering your wardrobe. Clothes not only take up physical space in your home, but also occupy mental space. A crowded wardrobe can make us feel overwhelmed, and sometimes we don't even realize which items we truly need or love. I've been there too, holding on to clothes that no longer fit, no longer suit my style, yet not having the heart to let go. One time, I decided to tackle my wardrobe. I found so many pieces I hadn't worn in over a year. One of the items I found was a pair of white shoes that I once loved, but no longer felt comfortable wearing. However, I kept them in my wardrobe because I thought, maybe one day I'll wear them again. But when I looked at them, I realized that keeping items I wasn't using not only took up space, but also made me feel like I was wasting things. After deciding to donate or discard things I didn't need, my wardrobe became more organized, and I felt lighter, no longer burdened, every time I opened my closet. A cluttered wardrobe doesn't just take up physical space, it also adds to our mental load. When you have too many clothes that you're not using, it becomes overwhelming to choose what to wear. You spend more time looking for something to wear and less time actually enjoying your day. Simplifying your wardrobe not only creates a tidier space, but also helps you quickly find what you need, saving you time each day. Start by evaluating the clothes you haven't worn in the past year. If you haven't worn an item in that time, it's a sign you may not need it anymore. Sort through your clothes into 3 piles: keep, donate, and discard. The items you no longer love or need can be donated or recycled. A helpful tip is to apply the try it for a week method for the items you're unsure about. If you haven't worn an item in the week following your declutter, it's a good sign it's time to let it go. Decluttering your wardrobe not only helps you free up physical space, but also clears your mind. A tidy wardrobe makes you feel more organized and allows you to pick out your outfits quickly without the stress of seeing piles of clothes you don't even wear. Most importantly, when you only keep the pieces you truly love and wear, often you'll feel more confident and comfortable in what you're wearing. So now that your wardrobe is sorted, let's move on to decluttering another crucial space, your cabinets and drawers. These hidden spaces are easy to overlook, but they can be a major source of unnecessary clutter around the house. Let's now move on to your cabinets and drawers. These spaces often get overlooked when it comes to decluttering, but they can actually be major sources of stress and mental clutter. We tend to stuff things into cabinets and drawers simply because we don't know where else to put them, and while they're out of sight, they're definitely not out of mind. I've been guilty of this myself, storing items away, promising to deal with them later, only to let the clutter build up unnoticed. I recently went through a kitchen drawer I hadn't opened in months. It was filled with old receipts, broken utensils, and random kitchen tools that I never used. It wasn't until I emptied the drawer that I realized how much unnecessary stuff had been quietly taking up space. It wasn't just about clearing out the physical mess. I also felt a huge mental relief because I no longer had to subconsciously worry about the clutter building up in the background. Even though these areas are hidden from view, the clutter in your cabinets and drawers can still affect your mental well-being. Studies have shown that physical clutter contributes to increased levels of cortisol, a stress hormone, which can negatively impact your mood and productivity. Clearing out these hidden spaces doesn't just help you organize your home, it reduces stress and creates a much calmer, more manageable living space. Start small and focus on one cabinet or drawer at a time. Don't feel like you need to declutter everything at once. Begin with the areas you use most often, like your kitchen or bathroom drawers, where clutter tends to accumulate the quickest. As you go through each space, sort your items into 3 categories: things you use regularly, things you no longer need, and things that belong somewhere else. For example, you might find expired food or spices in your kitchen. These are easy to toss. If you come across items that are no longer serving a purpose, donate them or give them away. A simple trick to keep your cabinets organized is to use clear containers or dividers. This way, you can see exactly what you have and avoid overstuffing your drawers. It's also helpful to label containers so you always know where everything belongs. While it might seem like a small task, decluttering your cabinets and drawers has a profound effect on how you feel in your space. It's not just about tidying up. It's about creating an environment where everything has its place, which reduces the mental load of dealing with clutter. When your home is organized, you'll feel more at ease, more productive, and less stressed. Now that you've decluttered your cabinets, it's time to move on to another area that can accumulate unwanted items: makeup and skincare products. These products can quickly pile up and take up precious space, so it's worth taking a look at them. Now let's focus on your makeup and skincare products. It's easy to forget about the items we keep hidden in drawers or cabinets, especially when it comes to beauty products. Over time, these products can pile up and take up space, leaving you with clutter that affects both your physical space and your mental clarity. I've personally experienced how easy it is to hold on to products past their expiration date or things I just don't use anymore. I used to have a drawer full of makeup and skincare products that I never used. Some of them were old, some were gifts, and some were impulse buys. Over time, I realized how much space they were taking up and how they were cluttering my mind. I would look through the drawer and see all these products that I felt guilty about throwing away, but in reality, they were doing more harm than good. I decided to go through everything, throw out expired products, and donate things I didn't need. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, both physically and mentally. Old makeup and skincare products don't just take up space, they can also negatively affect your skin. Using expired products can lead to skin irritation breakouts or even eye infections. When you keep products you don't need, you're also holding on to a cluttered mindset. You're allowing things that no longer serve you to take up space in your home and your thoughts. By decluttering your beauty products, you free up both your bathroom drawers and your mind, making it easier to focus on what really matters. Start by going through your makeup and skincare collection. Check the expiration dates on all your products. As a general rule, mascara should be replaced every 3 months, foundation every year, and lipstick every 2 years. If a product has been sitting in your drawer for months or even years without being used, it's time to part with it. Also, consider donating or giving away items you no longer use or don't love. If you haven't used something in the last few months, chances are you won't in the future. By decluttering your makeup and skincare collection, you'll create a space that feels fresh and organized. It's easier to find what you need, and you'll feel better knowing you're using products that are good for your skin. This simple task can also boost your confidence because you'll have a space filled with things you truly love and use. Plus, you'll avoid wasting money on products that just sit there taking up valuable space in your home. Now that your beauty products are decluttered, let's move on to another area that can contribute to clutter: supplements and vitamins. These items can quickly accumulate in your cabinets and take up more space than you realize, so it's time to assess what's really necessary. Now let's talk about your supplements. As we age, we often accumulate a variety of vitamins, minerals, and supplements that we think we need, but in reality, some of them may no longer be necessary. Over time, it's easy to forget about them or keep using them out of habit, even though they might not be serving us anymore. I've gone through this process myself, where my medicine cabinet was filled with supplements I hadn't touched in months or even years. I used to take a variety of vitamins, believing they were all essential for my health. But one day, while looking through my supplements, I realized that some of them had expired or I hadn't been using them for a long time. There were also several supplements I wasn't sure I even needed. After doing some research and consulting with my doctor, I found out that some of them weren't really necessary for me. I ended up throwing away expired supplements and donating others that I no longer used. Afterward, I felt relieved my medicine cabinet was cleaner, and I felt more confident knowing I was only taking what was truly beneficial for me. Holding on to unused or expired supplements takes up valuable space in your cabinets and can even affect your health. Overconsumption of certain vitamins and minerals or mixing supplements that interact poorly can have negative effects. Additionally, keeping unnecessary supplements around only adds to the clutter in your home and your mind. By decluttering your supplements, you free up space and ensure that you're only consuming what's truly necessary for your well-being. Start by going through all the supplements and vitamins you have. Check the expiration dates and toss out anything that's expired. Then assess whether you're still taking all of them or if some can be eliminated. Consult with your doctor if you're unsure about which supplements are beneficial for your current health needs. If you're taking multiple supplements that cover similar nutrients, see if you can consolidate them into a single supplement to simplify things. Organize the supplements you do keep in a clear container so you can easily access them when needed. By decluttering your supplements, you'll create more space in your cabinets, and you'll also reduce the risk of consuming unnecessary or expired products. You'll feel better knowing that you're only using supplements that are genuinely beneficial to your health. Additionally, a well-organized cabinet makes it easier to find what you need, and you won't have to deal with the stress of seeing clutter every time you open it. Now that your supplements are decluttered, let's focus on another area that might be causing you stress: your computer. With so many digital files piling up over time, it's important to clear out the clutter from your devices too. Let's now focus on decluttering your computer. In today's digital world, our computers are often filled with files, photos, documents, and emails that accumulate over time. These things can easily slow down your device and make it harder to find what you actually need. I personally experienced this when my computer started running slow and I realized it was because of all the junk files I had accumulated. I often make videos for my work, and after a while, my computer became overloaded with video files, screenshots, and random documents. At one point, it was so bad that my computer would freeze every time I tried to open a new file. It wasn't until I took the time to organize everything that I realized how much unnecessary stuff I had stored. I cleared out old projects, transferred videos to an external hard drive, and deleted duplicate files. Immediately after, my computer ran faster, and I felt less stressed just by having a more organized digital space. A cluttered computer can be just as stressful as a cluttered home. When your device is full of old, unused files, it can affect its performance, leaving you feeling frustrated and unproductive. Moreover, the mental clutter caused by an overstuffed computer can create a sense of chaos. By decluttering your computer, you free up both digital space and mental space, which can help improve your productivity and reduce stress. Start by going through your files and documents. Delete any old files you no longer need, especially large files, like videos or photos that are taking up unnecessary space. Organize your remaining files into folders based on categories such as work, personal, and family, so that it's easier to find what you're looking for. Don't forget to clean up your desktop. Having too many icons on the screen can also add to the clutter. You can also take advantage of cloud storage or an external hard drive to store large files that you don't need on your computer every day. Also, take the time to clean up your email inbox. Go through old emails, delete spam, and organize important emails into folders. This will not only declutter your inbox, but also reduce the stress of sifting through hundreds of old emails when you're looking for something important. Decluttering your computer will make it easier to find the files you need and improve the overall performance of your device. A faster computer means less frustration and more time to focus on what's important. Plus, a clean digital space can help you feel more organized and in control, just like a clean physical space. When you get rid of the unnecessary digital clutter, you create room for creativity and productivity. Now that your digital space is organized, let's tackle another often overlooked area: your car. Your vehicle is a part of your daily life, and a clean and organized car can have a significant impact on your overall mood and stress levels. Finally, let's talk about decluttering your car. It's easy to overlook the state of your car because it's something you use every day. But over time, cars can become a dumping ground for everything from old coffee cups to receipts and even bags of items that you've meant to donate. This buildup can make your car feel cramped, cluttered, and even stressful to drive. I used to find myself in a situation where my car was full of empty water bottles, fast food wrappers, and random items I didn't need. It wasn't until I had to give someone a ride that I realized how bad it had gotten. The clutter in my car was making me feel stressed, and I couldn't even focus on the road. After that, I decided to make a change. I spent an afternoon cleaning out my car, getting rid of all the trash, organizing the glove compartment, and vacuuming the seats and floors. Immediately, I felt a huge sense of relief. Not only did my car look better, but it also felt much more peaceful to drive. A cluttered car can add unnecessary stress to your day. When your car is disorganized, it can make you feel like your life is chaotic, even if the rest of your space is tidy. Plus, a messy car can be distracting while you're driving, which can lead to safety concerns. Keeping your car clean and organized gives you a sense of control over your environment and reduces the mental clutter that can come from trying to keep track of all the items you've left in your vehicle. Start by removing all the trash from your car. This includes old receipts, empty water bottles, and fast food wrappers. Next, go through any compartments, like the glove compartment, center console, and trunk, and organize or remove any unnecessary items. If you have items in your car that belong in your home or elsewhere, return them to their proper places. Afterward, give your car a good clean vacuum, the seats and floors, wipe down the dashboard, and clean the windows. If you're short on time, you can set a reminder to do a mini clean every week to keep it organized. When your car is clean and organized, you'll feel less stressed every time you drive. You won't have to worry about things rolling around or getting lost, and your mind will be free from the clutter. Plus, a clean car is safer because you're less likely to be distracted by items that don't belong in your vehicle. Now that your car is decluttered, you've tackled another important area of your life. By taking the time to clean and organize your car, you're also reinforcing the idea that small changes can lead to a more organized and peaceful life. As we've seen, decluttering isn't just about cleaning up, it's about creating a space where you can feel in control, focused, and relaxed. So, with the 10 tips shared, you can now start decluttering and freeing up your living space in a more effective way, right? These changes won't just reduce your stress, but also make you feel lighter and more at ease every day. I'm sure that as you apply these tips, you'll see a noticeable difference in both your living space and your mood. Remember, decluttering isn't just about tidying up, it's about refreshing your life, changing your habits, and creating a space that's conducive to better things. Each small change you make today will bring long-lasting results and help you feel more satisfied with your life. As your living space becomes tidier, you'll find your mind feeling more peaceful and free. Start today, because change doesn't wait for anyone. And don't forget, every tip you apply brings you one step closer to the life you've always wanted. I hope you find these tips helpful and feel the difference. If you did, feel free to share this video with friends or family. Thank you for watching, and I wish you a life that's lighter, more organized, and full of energy.